There are so many options for molds in soap making. Some purpose-made, some free. As you get into soap making, you will see potential molds everywhere. You can use plastic, yogurt or sour cream containers. And you can use milk, cream and juice cartons. These are particularly good as they are waxed so your soap comes out easily. Don't use any containers that have previously had toxic materials in, and wash them out thoroughly with soap and water before using them. You can make your own molds from cardboard boxes lined with freezer paper. Shoe boxes are the perfect size. You can use Pringle tubes to make round soaps. These are great as they have a lining which releases the soap well. You can't usually use them more than once though. You can put cling wrap over the ends, secure with an elastic band, and then stand it in the lid to stop the soap running out of the bottom. You can use any plastic food or storage container. This drawer divider from IKEA is perfect and has different sizes in it. Any container needs to have some pliability to it in order to release the soap. Metal and glass are not good as the soap will stick in them and be nearly impossible to get out. Anything made of wood or cardboard needs to be lined with freezer paper to prevent the soap from leaking out of gaps. And also your mold will get ruined over time as the soap keeps sinking into it. If you can't get freezer paper, you can use parchment paper, although it sticks to your soap more than freezer paper. Waxed paper is not good to use as the wax will flake into your soap and will spoil it. Use the freezer paper with the shiny side to the soap. Silicone molds are great for soap making as they don't need to be lined and are very flexible, so your soap comes out easily. You can buy baking molds and ice cube molds. Themed ice cube molds are great for creating embeds for decorating. Muffin molds are perfect for individual bars. Make sure you just keep them for soap making though. Make sure that your recipe creates a hard bar or use sodium lactate or salt, or else you can easily dent your bars when you're turning them out of these silicone molds if your soap is soft. Silicone can also produce pock marks in the final product if the soap overheats. To prevent this, soap at 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 48.9 degrees centigrade. The pock marks don't affect the quality of your soap, just the appearance. Then you can get purpose-made soap molds in a variety of shapes, sizes and materials, such as wood, plastic or silicone. You can often find theme molds in the dollar store, especially around Valentine's Day or Halloween. This small baking loaf mold is perfect for making a small number of bars or for a test batch. Loaf molds are good for swirling, layer and other designs. They come in short, wider sizes or thinner, taller ones. You can buy these or make your own. Consider making one where the sides flip down, or use a silicone liner to get your soap out easier. You can buy silicone loaf molds that don't need lining. However, they are often more expensive than the wooden ones. The soap takes longer to harden in them, and they can bow out at the edges with the heat. You can get dividers for loaf molds to create swirling designs. They're not cheap, but you can make your own from plastic if you want, although it can be a challenge to keep them in place. The purpose-made ones clip into the ends and have a piece to hold them together in the middle. You can use elastic bands to keep your own in place. You remove these dividers once the soap is poured in order to create your design. You can get slab molds like these to create horizontal bars. These allow you to create a different style of swirl where the pattern is on the top of the bar rather than throughout the layers. You can get dividers to go into them to turn them into individual bars, which makes it easier than cutting the whole slab mold into bars. You create your design and then you put your bar dividers in at the end before the soap sets. They can be a challenge to unmold sometimes, so you need to be patient and ensure your soap is set, or lubricate your dividers. You can use plastic trays and silicone baking trays as well. You can buy specialty molds in a variety of designs. They're made of heavy-duty plastic and so aren't very flexible, making unmolding a bit of a challenge. If you put your soap in the freezer for about an hour, it will unmold easier. You can also lubricate the insides of the molds with a mineral oil. You can use chocolate making molds for embeds for decorating the tops of your soap, but these are made from a harder, thinner plastic, which can crack easily. For this reason, I usually make my embeds out of melt and pour soap, which comes out of the molds easily. If you do want to use cold processed soap, choose a recipe that will give a very hard bar and make it a few days ahead of time, so the soap can set longer in the mold if needed. These molds are perfect for making bath bombs as well as melt and pour soaps. You can also buy tube molds like these, which will create long soap embeds, perfect for putting in your soaps. I stand these up in a tall jug to fill them up and leave them in there to set. Individual silicone molds can also be used for making bath bombs and candles. As I said, there are so many options, so start simple and consider how many times you will use a mold before splashing out a lot of money on it. You may want to invest in more multi-purpose molds that can be used for several types of project, such as the silicone ones. Lots of molds are inexpensive. You can find ice cube molds in IKEA, supermarkets, kitchen shops and dollar stores. You can get wooden molds with liners like this pink one, molds for embeds and silicone baking items, all from AliExpress, Etsy and Amazon. AliExpress is my favourite. Although the delivery is slower, the prices are worth the wait. So take a look around and see what bargains you can find.